In this episode, I thought I would explore Reiki and specifically how learning Reiki can assist you in the development of channeling skills as well as your psychic development. So first of all, let's begin with what is Reiki. I'm going to read directly from my book, which is titled Intuitive Reiki, A Transformational Journey of Deep Spiritual Awakening. So this is a little excerpt from chapter 2 called What is Reiki? A little bit of the history and background. Reiki, a spiritual healing art, was founded by Mikao Usui in Japan in the 1920s. The term Reiki comes from two Japanese words, Rei meaning universal life and Ki meaning energy. According to the International Association of Reiki Professionals, Reiki is not affiliated with any particular religion or religious practice and is not based on belief or suggestion. Instead, it is subtle and an effective form of energy work that uses spiritually guided life force energy. Reiki practitioners believe that this healing energy flows through all living things and that everyone can connect with their own healing energy to strengthen themselves and others. When a person's chi flows strong and free, their body and mind are in a positive state of health. However, when energy is weak or blocked, it can lead to physical or emotional imbalance. Reiki was a very popular practice in Japan before World War II, but it was later outlawed as a touch treatment for after the war, which resulted in significant decline in its popularity. As a result, Usui Reiki had to operate covertly for many years despite the challenges. So he decided not to formalize Reiki as a religion, even though if he had have done so, it would have made it much more popular. He really wanted it to be created, it to be accessible to all individuals, a vision that remains unchanged to this day. So what is the difference between Reiki, traditional Reiki, and intuitive Reiki? So intuitive Reiki is a modality that I have taken standing on the shoulders of the Reiki practitioners and masters that have gone before me. But also I found that when I was practicing Reiki, as I started to tune into that beautiful energy, I was open to receiving messages from spirits and guides. And I remember in the very early days of my Reiki practice, I was told very adamantly that there was no place for that in Reiki and that healing was a very passive experience and that we really as practitioners and masters needed to zip it and not talk because that would be interfering with the healing energy and it was seen as an ego in the sessions. I disagree. And it was also, those that I believe weren't particularly intuitive themselves naturally felt more comfortable in just really being present with the energy, honoring the person that we were with, and also just allowing the energy of Reiki to do what Reiki does best. So it was trusting that the energy itself is intuitive, therefore we don't need to direct it as humans. We just need to open and become channels for the universal life force energy to flow. So in its purest state, Reiki is allowing that vibration to flow through us and to be able to have an effect and have a connection. It activates the immune system of the people that we're giving Reiki or the person that we're giving Reiki to. And it also creates a channel for a spiritual essence to flow and to create life changes, both on the physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional levels of the human system. There is an element that I will say where there is a phenomenon known as just where we have to surrender to the mystery of Reiki. No matter how long we've been doing Reiki for or how much we think we know the essence of Reiki, there is always this element and this part of it that we just can't grasp with our human mind. There's just something that happens in the session that I believe the best way to describe it is that when we're open to that power of love, amazing things happen. People heal, people release emotions, they release unconscious blocks, conscious blocks, and they shift and change. I've seen healing happen on the physical level. I've seen amazing things shifting on an emotional level. And there is an element that as practitioners and masters, we just sit in awe of Reiki and what we can do just by really being a bystander and allowing that beautiful energy to flow through us. And not only that, when we enter into a session with our clients, we literally park all our problems outside the healing room. And one of my Reiki masters taught me in the very, very beginning that when you sit opposite someone and they're about to have a Reiki session from you, give them 100% of your focus and your attention. And I think in this day and age, having someone sit opposite you that is really 100% focused on you and wants to be there to support you is a little bit rare. And if you've ever been someone that has been under the gaze of someone that is doing just that, giving you their full undivided attention, it feels amazing. So based on that fact alone, and there's so many other things that make a Reiki session really amazing. It's the atmosphere we create. That can be from the beautiful space that we hold, the room, the way in which we've, set up the healing space. It can be the lighting, the temperature of the room, the music that we play. There's all these little things that basically just create a nurturing environment for your clients to come into. And I'm speaking primarily to the students that I've trained. So just that alone, coming and having a Reiki session, if you were just receiving the energy, and I call it kind of when you come and you're having your energy, just running energy, and, the person just gets to lay down, close their eyes and fully relax and embrace that experience. That is how I used to do Reiki in the beginning. It really was just, I didn't want to get messages. I was aware that I was psychic, but I was really not interested in hearing from anything Spirit wanted to say. In fact, in the beginning, I was quite afraid of it. And it wasn't until a few years after I'd been practicing and working with Reiki, I'd moved through some of the fear that I had, which I do talk about in my book, some significant psychic mediumship experiences that I had, where I had a conversation with a young boy who had passed away, who I worked with at Starlight Children's Foundation. So you can read about that story in my book, or maybe I'll share a podcast about that. So in the beginning, I was just really happy to run energy, and the majority of my students begin that way, where they're just getting the understanding that they learn how to flow into that energy, flow with the Reiki energy, lay their hands on a person. Reiki's all done fully clothed, so you're nice and comfortable. You get to chill out and you get to receive the benefit of that beautiful Reiki energy. And it feels like heat coming from the Reiki Master's hands, and the energy flows through the body, so you can actually feel it create this deep relaxation. What then started happening as I went on a psychic mediumship development path. So I was really fascinated. Once I started to move through the fear of spirit, I then had a bit of a thirst for wanting to know more. In the beginning, I was kind of like, I don't know if you'd sit around and people would tell spooky spirit stories, and I'd be like, oh my God, I'd lean in and I'm like, tell me more. And then I'd be like, stop. And it was like this total conflict. One part of my being just couldn't get enough of learning about Reiki and spirituality and psychics and psychic mediums and the spirit realm. And then another part of me was like, oh my God, I felt out of control. I was scared. What if they come at night? And quite often, I would put a lot of energy out. I remember someone well-meaning once telling me if I didn't want spirit to come to me, and this was going back when I was like 18, to put salt in all four corners of my room and to literally imagining closing the door to spirit and then padlocking it and saying, don't come. And literally, anyone that understands energy, what I was effectively doing was putting a lot of focus out to the spirit world. So they came in and I saw, a lot of spirit in those early days, which kind of led me down the path of wanting to understand and learn how to manage what I could see, feel and sense from that psychic mediumship perspective. So for those of you that don't know, a psychic medium is somebody who can connect with and tune into the spirit world and can relay messages that they receive from those that have passed over. So our loved ones, our ancestors, but also our spirit guides also fall under that domain. So coming back to what is intuitive Reiki, so what's the difference, Lisa? Well, when I started to develop my psychic mediumship, I found that I was surrounded by the most incredible psychic mediums. A lot of them had a lot of experience. And I felt that after I'd done some training, I sat in a psychic circle, a closed circle, for about 4 years, where we would meet every week and we advanced through the different techniques that my incredible teacher, Samantha Dooley, was teaching our group. And after a while, I just felt that when I sat down to do one-on-one readings, there was just this huge amount of pressure that I put on myself to be able to deliver a really accurate and clear message. And I was surrounded at that time by world-class mediums, which I of course looked up to, did that very thing that, we're always taught not to, making that comparison. And I always fell short and felt like I just couldn't achieve the level of connection that they could. But what I found is that when I was trying to make that connection with spirit through Reiki, it gave me a way to gently ease into mediumship without feeling pressured. So I could start to receive an income through doing Reiki sessions, because at a bare minimum, they got an incredibly beautiful healing session. But as a bonus, I was able to put myself into a space where I started to let those people know that I was also a psychic medium and I was learning, and that if they were open to receiving a message, I could tune in and see what I could get. And what I found is that I was separating myself. One part of me was a healer, one part of me was a psychic medium, which was traditionally two separate parts. And a few years later, I met a lady that said to me, "Oh my God, that was amazing," because I brought through messages and gave her, really great clarity on a problem she was experiencing at the time. And I said to her, I love doing this. I love doing Reiki this way, and I feel like it's more the intuitive way of doing Reiki. And it turns out that she said to me, "Well, why do you like doing Reiki without giving messages?" I'm like, "Not really." And so she kind of said to me, "Well, you don't have to." And that began the first, I really started to consolidate the way in which I worked, recognize it was different to the majority out there. And I decided to call myself an intuitive Reiki healer. And I remember I used that term for the first time, and we're going back probably 20 years now. I used that first term, I do intuitive Reiki. And I remember feeling like when I put it out there, and it was on Facebook at the time, it was like coming out of the spiritual closet and saying, "I do Reiki differently. I do it this way." And what I thought was going to have a bunch of people say, "You can't do that. That's not Reiki. That's mediumship. You can't call it Reiki." Or, there's no such thing as angels and guides in Reiki. It's just energy. And what I actually experienced, so that's what I thought, that's what my fear was telling me would happen. What I actually experienced was an inundation. I had so many people rush at me wanting Reiki sessions, going, "Oh my God, finally, someone that gets it. I have guides and spirit and messages coming through, and I just want to work out what to do with it." So I actually found that many, many people resonated with being intuitive and also recognized that there was a real gift in being able to bring through not only healing energy, but also give valid, beautiful, loving, thoughtful messages, to their Reiki clients while they were doing Reiki. So they saw, like me, the benefit of getting a reading and a healing at the same time. And the sessions over the years started to get more and more where I was receiving more and more messages, and we were communicating and talking through the session, and they really started to become known as being active healing sessions. So it is a very rare day when I have someone come in and say, "Lisa, I don't want you to bring through messages. Can you just stop talking and, let me just receive the pure energy?" And I do have one client I work with that does that still, and I do have to trust and honor that, even though it's not my most favorite way to practice. It's what she needs and what she requests. So guess what? My client gets to choose their preferred way. But I have to say, if I had a whole caseload of people like that, I'd get itchy feet and get bored, because my passion for those students, I've taught thousands of students my style of Reiki over the years. My passion is really channeling and bringing through uplifting and inspiring messages. And when we do it through the practice of Reiki healing as a modality, it automatically puts us into a high frequency, a high vibration. It opens our heart and allows us to connect with other people on a really beautiful, nurturing, incredible, it's hard to describe the words, but it just opens up the connection quickly, not only to spirit and our guides and our higher self. It also allows us to make really beautiful connections with our clients, and at times when it's in the highest good of our clients, we also find that we can connect through mediumship and bring through messages from their loved ones that can be really empowering and inspiring. So I thought I would introduce Intuitive Reiki to you, seen as when you go to my website, it's all about Intuitive Reiki and channeling as well. To give you an understanding, I'm so proud. It's a modality that I have founded and created and really put a framework together to teach, students, light workers, healers, those people, even kinesiologists, people working in the complementary health field that just want another modality that they can have in their back pocket to be able to make a really profound, deep connection, but one that empowers them as healers to be able to share the wisdom and the messages that they have during the session, rather than just laying the hands and being passive. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I do think that there are people that love working in that way and just love that grounded connection to the energy. But what I realized today is that there are thousands of ways in which we all can do our modalities, and lots of different ways we can do Reiki, lots of different ways we can do mediumship, lots of different ways we can connect with the spirit world. So now my dogs are barking in the background. So that's a little snapshot of what Intuitive Reiki is. And I look forward to sharing more with you in the podcast. If you've liked this episode, please share it with a friend if you know someone else who would enjoy it as well. And don't forget to follow us, and don't forget to rate the show as well. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you in the next episode.